Army in tears. Jungkook couldn't stop crying in Taehyung's embrace. What happened? The scene was shocking, sudden, and deeply unsettling. Jungkook, the youngest and most resilient member of BTS, broke down uncontrollably in front of thousands, collapsing emotionally into the arms of Taehyung. For a group so often associated with discipline, strength, and unity, the moment shattered the image of unshakable idols. Why did Jungkook cry so intensely? And why was it Taehyung, of all people, who became his anchor? This unexpected event has left ARMY in a state of confusion, sorrow, and endless speculation. Witnesses who saw the moment described silence falling across the venue as Jungkook's sobs echoed louder than the music. It wasn't the polished performance ARMY usually expected, but a raw and devastating collapse of emotions. Jungkook buried his face into Taehyung's chest, clinging to him as if no one else in the world existed. Taehyung, usually composed and reserved, responded with rare tenderness, wrapping both arms tightly around Jungkook and whispering words no one else could hear. The intimacy of the embrace was powerful enough to break millions of hearts in an instant. But what triggered such an overwhelming breakdown? Jungkook has faced countless stages, endless tours, and the weight of global stardom for years. He has been celebrated as the golden Maknae, capable of perfection in every field, from singing and dancing to visuals and charisma. Yet in this moment, all that pressure, expectation, and silence seemed to collapse on top of him. The carefully guarded walls he had built for more than a decade suddenly cracked, and what ARMY saw was the vulnerable young man behind the global superstar. Observers noticed the exact second when his voice began to falter. During the performance, his tone shifted, slightly trembling, slightly delayed, as if his mind was somewhere else entirely. Then, as he turned to face the crowd, his eyes were already filled with tears. The crowd screamed, expecting perhaps an emotional thank you speech. But no one expected what came next. Jungkook dropped his microphone, walked straight toward Taehyung, and collapsed against him without hesitation. The symbolism of that moment cannot be overstated. Why Taehyung? Why did Jungkook instinctively choose him? ARMY is no stranger to the deep connection between the two. Their friendship has been analyzed for years, sometimes celebrated, sometimes misunderstood. But this moment gave it undeniable weight. Taehyung didn't hesitate, didn't step back, didn't even seem surprised. It was as if he had been waiting for the exact moment Jungkook needed him most. The way he held Jungkook, shielding him from cameras and from the world, made ARMY cry harder than ever before. The emotional impact of the embrace spread like wildfire across social media. Clips of Jungkook in tears, held tightly by Taehyung, went viral within minutes. Armies across the globe described it as one of the rawest and most unforgettable moments in BTS history. Some questioned whether the weight of recent struggles had become unbearable for Jungkook, while others speculated about personal battles no one outside the group could ever fully understand. What united everyone was a shared heartbreak, the realization that Jungkook's smile, so often seen as unshakable, had finally broken. Many fans pointed out subtle signs leading up to this collapse. Jungkook's recent appearances had shown signs of exhaustion, dark circles under his eyes, quieter interactions, and a heaviness in his expression during rehearsals. His passion for performing never faded, but his demeanor suggested a storm brewing beneath the surface. When he finally broke down, it wasn't a surprise for those who had been paying close attention, but the magnitude of his tears still left them stunned. The most haunting part of the scene was not the crying itself, but the length of it. Jungkook couldn't stop. Even after Taehyung tried to soothe him, even after the crowd cheered desperately to lift his spirits, the tears continued to flow. His body shook, his grip on Taehyung tightened, and the atmosphere became unbearably heavy. Taehyung whispered into his ear, pressing his hand against Jungkook's back in firm reassurance, yet Jungkook clung tighter, refusing to let go. What did Taehyung whisper? That remains one of the greatest mysteries of the night. Fans analyzed every possible angle of footage, trying to read lips, but the truth remains hidden. Some believe it was a message of brotherhood. Others suspect it was an urgent plea for Jungkook to stay strong. Whatever it was enough to keep Jungkook in his embrace, choosing silence over words as the world looked on. The emotional weight of that moment sparked debates far beyond fan communities. Commentators described it as a reflection of the immense pressure idols face under global scrutiny. For years, BTS members have carried the weight of expectations that no ordinary human could bear. Jungkook, despite his extraordinary strength, is still human. The embrace with Taehyung was not just personal, it was symbolic of the fragile humanity hidden behind superstardom. Fans around the world flooded platforms with messages of support, but many also expressed concern. Was Jungkook reaching his breaking point? Could this moment signal deeper struggles within BTS? And what role did Taehyung truly play? Was he simply a friend? Or was he the one person Jungkook trusted most in that moment of vulnerability? The lack of answers only deepened the emotional resonance of the event. The tears, the embrace, and the silence have now become one of the most discussed moments in BTS history. ARMY continues to replay the footage, searching for clues, dissecting every second, and holding on to the hope that Jungkook will recover. Yet the haunting image remains. Jungkook, once called unbreakable, sobbing uncontrollably in the arms of Taehyung, who held him as if to protect him from everything the world had thrown at them. In the end, the event was not just about sadness. It was about truth. The truth that even idols, no matter how strong, need someone to hold them when the weight becomes unbearable. The truth that Jungkook, despite his golden reputation, is still a human being who can cry, collapse, and lean on someone he trusts. And the truth that Taehyung, in that moment, wasn't just his bandmate. He was his lifeline. What will this mean for the future? No one can say for certain. But one thing is undeniable. The image of Jungkook crying in Taehyung's embrace will forever be etched into ARMY's memory as a moment of raw humanity that shook the walls of perfection BTS had built for years. It was a reminder that even legends bleed, even heroes cry, and sometimes the strongest among us need to fall apart, if only to be reminded that they are not alone.